Welcome to the Daily Agenda. It's bonfire night, 2025, and there's a supermoon riding high in the sky apparently. I can just about see it from where I am, sat out on the very cusp of the countryside. I had to come out and get some fresh air as I've been burning with the fever nearly all day. And I was going to make this video on Sunday, but obviously the problem I've had with this infection caused by Crohn's disease has delayed quite a number of projects. So here we are. I thought I'd give it a go tonight. It won't be a very long video. But yes, on Saturday the Civil War fever began again. I'd explain it this way, because I think it is by far the best way to explain it, as I thought about it in great detail. So it's a little bit like there's a river above me, yeah? There's a big hillside above me, and there's a river. And it comes to peak and flow. And whenever it comes to peak, it overflows down into the valley, which is the Civil War fever. And then it runs dry, and it has to build up its pressure again, basically, to get to peak level and flow again. So basically, it's like an undulating Civil War fever. I mean, my fever has nothing to do with the Civil War. It's caused by, a fistula. The responsibility is Crohn's disease, sadly, and I get it every 18 to 20 months. But anyway, yes, the Civil War fever began again, and this one you just can't treat with antibiotics. Luckily, I can treat mine with antibiotics, and I don't get hysterical about anything either. It's just extremely painful and unpleasant, but there you go. You just get on with it, grit your teeth and soldier on. But no, the Civil War fever has cranked up again. And you have to ask yourself, why is it? Oh, well, because, little Robin Sob, fresh from his Israel humiliation ritual, was back in court yesterday, wasn't he? And so, would that have something to do with ramping it up? Suddenly, it's all over the place again, all over social media, all over YouTube. In fact, if you can hear the fireworks going off in the background, that's the closest you're going to get to civil war in this country, I can tell you that for a fact. Because I've actually discussed this with a number of people, particularly ex-military, British and American. And some of my ex-American military friends have said that the combat indicators in the United States are actually much higher than what they are here, but there's no sign of a civil war starting there either. And there's absolutely no sign of a civil war starting here. So you have to try and bring these people back down to reality. And I keep making these videos to counter this twisted Civil War fever. There are no volunteer battalions being formed anywhere across this country. There are no stockpiles of weapons. There are no active service units. There's not even any direct action units. So people often say to me, what's the difference between a direct action unit and an active service unit? So a direct action unit is a group of men, mostly, always was in the BMP years ago, who go out to confront the enemy and use force to do so, to stop the enemy by force, to stop them from using force against you. That's direct action. A direct action unit morphs into an active service unit when it starts using firearms and lethal force and other weapons to achieve lethal force. None of that's happening anywhere in this country. I just don't see anyone anywhere trying to recruit anyone to serve in a direct action unit, an active service unit, or even volunteer battalions. It's just pure and utter fiction. And pumping up Professor David Betts again, it's much closer than you think. It's not closer than we think. It's not closer than we think at all. It's away much further than what anyone thinks in actual fact, because no preparations have been made for it whatsoever. Is Elon Musk going to fund it? See, because when Lord Elon, as it were, Sauron the deceiver, the chief Zyobot, publishes a tweet and says civil war is inevitable, then all his little Zyobot cranks here in the UK take that as a direct instruction from Lord Sauron, the deceiver, to go out and make all of their Zyobot civil war videos again, whipping it up, ramping up the tension. And then you've got these silly little leftists saying, oh, the government needs to take action against Elon Musk. Well, how is the British government going to take action against Elon Musk? Legally, that is. How are they going to take action against him? He's a South African living in the United States. He has the protection of the Trump administration. He's not committed any offences as such in the United States. And so therefore there is absolutely nothing the British government can do about it. So stop talking nonsense. Really, that's the left. And the centre-right are talking even more nonsense, i.e. there's going to be a civil war soon, innit? And it's a much closer than what people think. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Absolutely not. Not even on PlayStation. Not even on Xbox. Can you hear the bang, crash, wallop in the background? It's appropriate, isn't it, that I'm actually making this video tonight on Bonfire Night when Guy Fawkes attempted to put a Catholic monarch back on the throne of England after the English had rejected Catholicism and failed, thankfully. But, it's still celebrated here. Gunpowder plot, and in truth, all the, whiz-bangs and crashes tonight is the closest you're ever going to get to civil war in this country, because there are no weapons. Nobody's got any weapons. There's no organisation. And we've got Ant Middleton again. Absolutely, of course it would be Ant Middleton, wouldn't it? The mascot. The mascot soldier coming out to say, I'm ready to lead. Ready to lead what? Tommy Robinson's washed up football thugs over the hill. Years of drugs abuse and alcohol. Are you joking? Come on, get real. Seriously, I mean, there's a difference between having some fisticuffs in the street outnumbering your enemy 5-1, which is the odds they prefer, to actually being in a civil war, as I'm sure Ant Middleton should know. He was a soldier, he's seen action, he's done combat, hasn't he? So why is he talking this nonsense? Because he's also a Zyobot. He's bought into the whole Zyobot factory. He's on the payroll, talking it up, whipping it up. I'm ready to lead. Lead what? Who are you going to lead? The centre-right? The centre-right is a joke collectively. It's just full of big-mouth pussies who never do anything. They're gobshites. Gobshittery is what they do, and they're brilliant at being gobshites, quite frankly. Giving it the big one, innit, Gavna? That's their expertise. But, show me one volunteer battalion anywhere in the country. Just one. I can't see one volunteer battalion anywhere in this country formed for this civil war. And of course, as you can see, it's winter. Well, it doesn't feel like winter tonight, actually. It's the mildest November night I can ever actually remember, which is really bizarre. It might have something to do with the celestial supermoon that's just riding in the sky up over there. I can't show you because obviously it'll wreck the footage. But that's the closest you're going to get to any civil war, quite frankly. It's bonfire nights, fireworks, whiz, bang, crash, wallop. Get used to the idea. Have you formed a volunteer battalion? You haven't, have you? I haven't formed one. I've got no intention of forming one. They haven't formed any because it's just bullshit, hot air, clickbait crap. But we can see now very clearly, I can see it very clearly, every time Sauron the Deceiver, Elon Musk, and we were using this Lord of the Rings phraseology because he keeps talking about the English being little hobbits who need some hard men to protect them. Perhaps he's thinking about himself. He looked very hard to me at all, in any way, shape or form. Absolutely not. And the poor little hobbits need to be saved. Well, the fact that he's a Zionist and totally in league with Israel, just like his Israeli agent, Tommy Robinson, who's now his puppet, slave, Zyobot slave, shows to me that he's certainly not on our side. He's certainly not Aragorn, is it, as he were. He's definitely Sauron the Deceiver. Or Saruman, maybe. Perhaps he has a Palantir. Perhaps Dan Mutton and all the other crackpots spinning this Civil War fantasy have a Palantir. If they have got a Palantir, I'd like to have this Palantir. Because then I can chart exactly when they're going to do their next Civil War fever session. Actually, I don't need a Palantir. And do you know why? Because having studied them, it's every 2 weeks. See, remember earlier, the river above. It runs dry, after a few days when it reaches peak level. And then it takes about 2 weeks for it to build up. And once Sauron the Deceiver in America, Elon, publishes his tweet, boom! The waterfall drops down into the valley again, and everybody's drenched in civil war fever. Look, to be perfectly honest with you, you know, it could happen quite by accident, in truth. Quite by accident. It's not being planned, I can tell you that for a fact. There's a lot of morons talking it up, morons who'd never be able to fight in it. But these people combined, because they've talked it up so many times, they've transformed the whole Civil War concept into an absolute joke, a laughingstock. And they're actually turning Professor David Betts into a laughingstock as well. Because they keep saying, well, he says it's imminent, it's closer than we think. Well, it isn't. It's nowhere near as close as anybody thinks. Because no preparations have been made for it. At all. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, trying to bring you back to the real world, because that will always be my agenda here at the Daily Agenda, to bring you back to the real world, because this Civil War nonsense needs to be countered, because it is just absolute drivel. It's drivel, and they've turned it into a joke so much. What if it happens? What if it really does happen, by accident, and they've turned it into a joke? Maybe that's their cunning plan, like Baldric. All we need now is Captain Blackadder to come along and rescue us with General Melchett, perhaps. Good night. Enjoy your bonfire and your whiz-bang fireworks.